So how do they balance it, or how can we convert these obstacles into the stepping stones? And that exactly is our next area of discussion. The panel discussion shall be moderated by our Honorable Registrar of Jain, deemed to be University, Dr. Jitendra Kumar Mishra, and he is here with us now. And he is a seasoned educational leader with expertise in outcome-based education, accreditation, and institutional development. With a history of driving excellence as Dean and Director at the leading institutions, he has elevated standards in teaching, learning, and research. Dr. Mishra has been actively involved in the policy advocacy, serving academic bodies like the Association of Indian Management Schools and the Center for Education Growth and Research. Notably, he was nominated by the UGC chairman to draft the Learning Outcomes-Based Curriculum Framework for undergraduate management programs. Thank you so much for agreeing to moderate the session, sir. I would love to welcome you onto the stage, please. The next person we have with us to be joining for this session is a noted and a remarkable scientist F at the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, Ministry of Science and Technology, and she is a trailblazer in the industrial research and innovation with over 20 years of experience, Dr. Vandana Kalia. Thank you so much for agreeing to join with us, ma'am. And she plays a key role in promoting indigenous technology, public-private partnerships, and inclusive innovation through initiatives like the A2K Plus program. A strong advocate for women's empowerment, Dr. Kalia established 4 women skills satellite centers under the TDUPW program, fostering sustainable entrepreneurship for rural and peri-urban women. Thank you so much once again. What a great pleasure to be having you. And finally, joining with us for this very interesting session on the innovations and researches, the challenges and opportunities, we have Dr. Padma V. Devarajan, the Honorable Dean of the Research and Innovation at the Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai, and she is a renowned expert in the drug delivery systems and diagnostics for human and veterinary health care. A senior professor in pharmacy, she has held key leadership roles, including Head of Pharmaceutical Sciences, President of the Innovation Council, and the coordinator of the World Bank-funded TEQIP program at the IZT. With numerous patents and 2 commercialized innovations, Dr. Devarajan has also authored books on targeted drug delivery. Among her many accolades, she received the Punjab Rao Deshmukh Outstanding Women Scientist Award in 2019 and made history as the first women president of the UDCT/IZT Alumni Association. And with that, I would love to hand over the charge of the session to 3 of you. Kindly take over.
Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Republic Day to you all. It's a wonderful occasion when we are talking of something which is very critical to the building of a nation as an independent, self-reliant, powerful nation, and that is research and innovation. I'm very happy and privileged to welcome my panel members, Madam Vandana Kalia, Madam Padma, who have their own imprints on the academia, research, and innovation. It's a very privilege and honor for Jain deemed to be university to have them on the panel today. We are going to talk of something which perhaps all of us know in one or other way. We know the good side of it, we know the bad side of it, we know the positive, we know the negative, we know the opportunities, challenges, but still that remains a puzzle when we look at the way forward. What we are going to do today, we will try to share some of the things which by and large we know, and then we'll try to see that knowing it all that we all know in any case, what can be the way forward where we can make a beginning and how can we move forward. If I put the context, if I try to set the context and put the facts, we all know that India is a country of largest number of institutions and largest number of students at any level studying anywhere on this planet. So we are number one in both the cases in terms of number of institutions as well as the number of students, which includes scholars at all the levels. But when it comes to our impact and respect, that we are not in first 10. And that is where the challenge starts. That is what brings this panel discussion to this stage. And this is where we have to start looking at. If I put certain facts forward, India has been constantly improving its research and innovation outcome. And if you see, India is among the top contributors to global scientific publications, and it is third in Scopus Index and fourth in Web of Sciences, which is a great accomplishment. But at the same time, you see, India's 40% of these research publications have foreign collaborators. If you see the Indian collaboration that is missing, that we again would like to understand that what is the reason why are we not able to collaborate within, and we are looking so much and depending, if I could say, so much outside. India has recorded the 60,000 patents that were filed in 2023. 60,000 patents filed in 1 year in any country is a record by any standard. If you see the total number of PhDs produced in 2020, in 2014 we have 24,300 PhDs, which has grown to 32,000 in 2022. So we have largest number of PhDs being produced, we have largest number of patents being filed, we have one of the largest number of publications coming out. Still there are challenges. We are not ranked among the most impactful researchers as a country. We have great scientists who have their individual respect. But as a country, we are not there. In Global Innovation Index, we have excelled greatly, but still we are 43rd. If you see the numbers, volume, and if you see the impact, our ranks are not matching properly. And that is where the challenges lies. We will try to understand all these and we'll take it forward. I will request my panel members to speak on this general context for 2 to 3 minutes before we take the questions. So, Madam Vandana, if you share your view on this general context, it will be good to understand.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra. I think he has placed a concept very clearly that what are the challenges we are facing. We are the country with large population, young population, and we are doing very good in terms of Global Innovation Index. We are improving our ranking there. We are improving in terms of the patents filed, publications being done. But what is still masking the whole STI ecosystem of the country, which is science, technology, and innovation ecosystem of the country. So, so if I ask you students, some of you from the science background, or you are from which background? Science. Okay. So what do you want to do after completing your graduation and post-graduation? How do you want to go ahead? You're looking for jobs? Yeah. So I think this, and how do you want to do your job? Teaching? Industry? Then? So what kind of job you're looking forward to? Researcher. Okay, fine. So that's good to hear that some of you want to be a researcher. And so as a researcher, what do you want to come up with? What have you thought? What will you do as a researcher? So I'll answer that. I'll believe that all of you sitting here should have one thought in your mind. Not about getting employment. Being an employer. You know, when we talk about innovation, when we talk about science, technology, and innovation, I'll just, yes, we'll have more discussion on it, but something is very important, that we all think of science, technology, and innovation as somebody is doing it and we are using it. No. You all, as a scientist, I believe, have such creative and fertile mind that you should think of being an employer of somebody, creating your own jobs. See, like pressure cooker. It's somebody invented that pressure cooker. Somebody has thought making that dal on a, on a gas is taking too much of time. Now the lady is working, she's going to office, she can't make dal. We eat dal which is made on, what we say, chula, and we say it is yummy dal, but then you don't have time for that dal, so somebody must have thought of pressure cooker. Similarly, somebody must have thought of Amul packets, milk packets, and now the Amul packets are available everywhere, milk packets. These are very small things. So I believe that science, technology and innovation has to be in the mind of everyone. Any student who is studying science in a science background should take it as a day-to-day challenge and understand where he can put his science and technology, and then the science technology will reach the places where it should reach. So that's my thought, because we are also youngest populated country, the population of youngest people, and if all of you think of one challenge that you want to address in the nation, think how many solutions we can find. So you just have to identify one challenge in the society, in your household, and see, I want to address it with my scientific knowledge, and then address it. One, you will create employment for yourself, and one, you will address the challenge also. So that's the beginning, I'll say, of the science technology in the country.
So Madam has very well brought that when we are looking at our career post-education, we should try to apply those learnings in form of research, and research being converted into enterprises which give employment, and that way we will excel at both the fronts. We'll address the issue of employment, as well as we will be trying to take the research to application and solving problem. Madam is from academia, Madam Padma is from academia, and she is a veteran. If I ask you that despite all this progress that we have been witnessing over decade, still we do not have a research-driven culture in academia. Our academics or our campuses are more being identified for their successes in terms of employment they create. So that research-driven academic culture is still missing. We have got some centers for excellence like IISc, ICER, but they are dedicated centers. If you see, they are not academic center in a core. They are focused on research only. And volume or mass lies in the large number of institutions where we have got 1100 plus universities, almost 50,000 colleges. So if we take it to those ground level, why it is lacking, and what we can do to build a very strong, rigorous research culture in academic institutions?
Okay. So I have been in the academia for over 30 years. So I will try and tell you what I have seen over the years. Since 2018 or 19, this culture that we are talking about is slowly being infused into institutions across the country. So before that, where were we? There were few academic institutions where research was promoted. Other institutions focused only on teaching. And the reason is the ecosystem. Most academic institutions, the teachers are pressurized to complete the syllabus in that kind of time, get involved in administrative work, and funds are not released, even small amounts. So there is this one thing that is a concern: research costs money, because of which institutions do not promote research. The other reason why research is not really taken off is because research is an attitude. That attitude has to be built in somewhere through an ecosystem where students see research happening, they understand the excitement of research. So somewhere an exposure should be provided to the student, which has been lacking, but let me tell you, the entire spectrum is slowly changing with time. In 2019, the Ministry of Education and the All India Council of Technical Education launched the Institution Innovation Councils. Now, this was a very important step by the government, And in 2020, they brought out the National Innovation and Startup Policy. So now how does this help? Just to go back one step and define research and innovation, because I'm talking of Innovation Council, what is the difference? So research uses wealth to create knowledge. So people do research, they come up with publications. What are publications? They are knowledge bases. They are sources of knowledge. But innovation converts this knowledge into wealth. So the whole concept of research has to be looked at from both these angles, knowledge and conversion. So how do we think about it? I mean, is this beyond us? The other question I would like to ask you is, in the academic institution, do we ever talk of our institute contributing to the GDP of the nation? We say India's GDP is today, it's one of the countries where the GDP is rising to 7%, 8%. So we are a fast-growing nation. But have we understood that as students, as faculty, we can be part of the 7-8%? It's not impossible. It's possible only if you open up your thought process and understand. And where should this all come from? Can students get it on their own? It has to come in as an ecosystem the day the student joins the institution. So it is a responsibility of the higher education administration to somehow create this ecosystem, this culture of research and innovation. Now, I come from an institute called Institute of Chemical Technology. We were part of Mumbai University, but today we are a deemed university like the Jain University, and we are 90 years old. So we are really a senior institution, and it's one of those unique institutions which started in 1933, where research started on day one. So while undergraduate students were admitted, research students were also admitted, not research students, but research scholars. So they just joined to do research. And that's where the connect of the institute with the industry began on day one. So those researchers were those people who wanted to convert knowledge into wealth for the nation. And today, we had a scientist from Niti Aayog who had visited our institute about 10 years ago. And he mentioned this on the stage, which was a surprise to us as an institute, that entrepreneurs from our institution are contributing about 2 to 8% of the GDP over a period of years, which is a huge amount coming from academic institutions. So who are these entrepreneurs? Reliance, Mukesh Ambani. Pidilite, Madhukar Bhai Parekh. Asian Paints, Ashwin Dani. Dr. Reddy's. These are names all of you know, right? So it has happened from an institute, and at that time I was not a student, so I have no role to play in that. But I entered that culture, and I see that culture continuing. I entered that culture as a student because I am from that institute. And for us, research gets into our veins. You know, it's like getting injected, pumped into you continuously, because you are watching all this happening. In every forum, this is told to you, and you're listening, and then you develop this concept that if these people from this institute with these facilities could do something, can I not? So the fact that is important for all of you as students is, first, want to do something. The minute you want to do something and you desire to do something, let me tell you, everything else just follows. With your determination, you will start attracting. There is this law of attraction that is talked about by Shiv Khera, and that actually works, provided you believe in it. So here I will stop. and I will pass it back to
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for bringing multiple issues that will help us bring out the questions out of it. But one very important thing you brought, that as an institution, we always look into a very narrow perspective. And I'm very happy to share with everyone that our Honorable Chancellor, when he started institution, and even today, he says that I will be successful when I could put a board that job seekers are not allowed.
Okay.
So, and he has a calculation that if we can produce some 10,000 entrepreneurs who make a business of 20 crore, will be able to contribute 2% to GDP. And that is what mathematics he has worked out, and he continuously push us to look at entrepreneurship. He says, whatever you do, you try to let students try their hands, let them fail, help them, and let people innovate and do entrepreneurship. Even he has gone a step forward. He's saying, let them not become entrepreneur if they are willing to go for job, but let them at least try their hands and earn their fees. So he is propelling a concept of earn while learn, not by doing silly jobs. He says that try to design something which create an entrepreneurial mindset, and let a student be engaged in that and create wealth. At least they should be able to earn their fees so that they are not burdened to their parents, and that make them looking in a very different way and become independent. So thank you for bringing that point. We have some commonality in that. But obviously we know that Indian Institute of Chemical Technology has its own impact, where the emerging India and Mumbai as a hub of industrialists all connected together. It was more of a matter of time when things came together, and we have one of the proud institution as Institute of Chemical Technology. You brought an issue that teachers are burdened and there is a lack of fund. Madam is in government system. We know that when we talk of resources, India is one of the most constrained country, and research is not focus. It appears it is not a focus when it comes to priority. So we know that 0.7% of the total GDP is spent on entire R&D in the country. Entire R&D, I'm saying very consciously, because it includes the funding of government agencies, dedicated government agencies, defense sector research, aerospace, specialized institution, and the institution like ours and others. So all together is 0.7%. And if you go further, out of that, if I give a comparative perspective, our GDP is around 3.75 trillion. US GDP is around 23 trillion. China is around 18-19 trillion. US spent 3.5% of its GDP. If you see the total amount, how much of GDP is, how much of money is spent on research and development in US, and if you see the population, per capita research investment, we are not even at the 100th place. China is same. They spend around 2.7% of their GDP on research and development. Again, their GDP is so huge. So that is one part that is there. And out of it all, only 10% come to academic institution. In this case, we can't force government, because government has its own way of looking at it, and we all have. What can be the way forward to, generate our own resources so that we excel in spite of our fund constraint from government? We create some alternative sources.
You have rightly pointed out that we have been at 0.7% GDP for almost 2-3 decades now, and we have not grown beyond it. And you will be surprised to hear, as he has also told, that of this 0.7%, I think 70% is from government only. So rest 30% contribution is by the private sector, and which is a very less number as compared to the global standards that are happening. So globally, average GDP on R&D is 2%, of which major percentage come from the private sector. So that means somewhere, like ma'am also said, that you have such a strong alumni base. So yes, of course, as an alumni, I feel there has to be some contribution in the GDP, like in the institute, host institute. Every alumni should contribute in the host institute, some some ways for enhancing the research activities there. But I'll assure you that it is not the case that government is not funding for the research in the country. Government has a mandate of supporting research in the country, and there have been many programs across where research is being supported. I am from Ministry of Science and Technology, and we have department DSIR. At DSIR also, we are looking into the complete STI ecosystem of the country. And every department or ministry has focus on the STI ecosystem in the theme areas. So if we talk about us, we are looking into the STI ecosystem for private and industrial sector. We have schemes where we support industry to set up their R&D centers. We help them by providing various fiscal incentives, direct, indirect tax benefits. And then we also support institutes like yours, which are non-government educational institute, but they are also focusing on research through various incentives. And those incentives might not appear as direct funding, but they still are like indirect support in doing research activities. So government has that approach also, like custom exemptions, some exemptions on the raw material that you buy for funding. So those kind of activities also we support. Then at DSIR, we do support production of indigenous technologies and production of, various products that can be used within the India and can be exported. So we have schemes even for young entrepreneurs. That's a scheme called PRISM. In fact, all of you should go through that scheme PRISM, because any citizen of the country, if he has any thought which he feels can be translated into a product or a prototype or a solution, we provide funding support for that. Your mother at home, even if she is not a working lady, she is a housewife, she can still apply if she has an idea. So it is from idea conceptualization to taking the idea to market, taking the idea to commercial stage. We have different series of funding. So I'll definitely ask you to go through that scheme PRISM, and I believe that every government department has a scheme called PRISM, where it look forward to the individuals with an ideas, So just go through it, and it is not required that the person should be associated or affiliated to any institute. He can just apply. Then we have another program, which is a wonderful program, which is called Technology Development and Utilization Program for Women. I think the lady who invited us on the dais also told about that program. See, because if you talk about research in a country, it will have different verticals. First vertical is the basic research, making student ready for research purpose, which like premium institutes like IITs, ISC, ICT are doing, like making students ready to take up research. Then another vertical is supporting the research of industry in the country. Because if you support the research of the industry, it will have many, it will lead to the economic progress of the country. So it's important to support research of the industry. So government is doing that also. The government has a burden of supporting industrial research also, facilitating their research also. Then the government has to facilitate research in academic institutes also. And then there is supporting the research in private organizations, like your institute is a private organization and you have to do research. Maybe we can't fund directly, but we have many indirect ways of funding the students and supporting the private institutes also. We have schemes where we provide you infrastructural support for various equipments and raw materials. We have schemes where we provide scholarships and fellowship. We have schemes of supporting faculty growth, capacity building of faculty, and then we have schemes of supporting research projects also. So we have all those schemes available with us. And the third vertical is taking the research to societal challenges. As I said earlier also, addressing the societal challenges and the gender challenges. So which is very important aspect of the research, which I feel should be taken up by the institute level. Because when the government, as a government, is supporting the infrastructure, providing an ecosystem, then as an institute, your responsibility always become to address the societal challenges as well as the gender challenges. So you are talking about funding. So as you only said that your organization has a vision of bringing in entrepreneurs. So I believe once you have a vision of bringing in enterprises, then of course the funding comes in. And if, as I said, if you have the vision of addressing the societal, industrial and gender specific challenges, the funding will come in. Because very important bridge to cover when we talk about research is bridge between academia and industry, the bridge between people at grassroots level and again academia. So if academia can identify and solve the problem of industry, people at grassroots level and society at large, the funding will not remain a problem the way it is in the countries like US and Canada. It's only that what you are targeting. So that's my take on it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for elaborating various schemes from government and government initiatives in supporting research and entrepreneurship at different level by offering funds of all different kinds. That's wonderful. We have wonderful, mention of support in National Education Policy 2020. Government has talked about research foundation, and this research foundation was conceived to be a very professionally organized autonomous body to support research, and they had assumed that it will have some corpus of 20 to 50,000 crore rupees. Also, they have mentioned that they will try to make a mandate, like government has made a mandate that 2% of your overall turnover you have to profit, 2% of your profit you have to spend on CSR. Some amount you will have to compulsorily spend on funding research, but that has not yet come to action. But these thought processes are there which are very encouraging. Madam also mentioned to connect with alumni to generate funds beyond our government and limited institutional resources. We have seen that in our country, the industry and academia has been very two different worlds. Despite they depend on each other as much as anything else, our pass out students from academia work in industry, and industry people depend on them to get the required talent. But this connect has never been seen as a very positive and very active. So it has been very distant. You have been lucky to have good alumni who are still connected. Most of the institution, if you see, the alumni connect is also very, very poor. The institutions have very celebrated alumni, but if you ask, they only get to know when they are awarded somewhere and they are mentioned. Otherwise, if you ask, we don't have that very good connect. Here, I would request Padma ma'am that if you help us understand how can this connect with industry and alumni could be created, could be strengthened so that it become a real strength.
See, the first thing is to form the alumni association. Now, that is the first step. You have to get a set of alumni who are really passionate about the institute and want to return back to the institute. So that's the first thing. Once this alumni association is formed, there has to be continuous activities organized where students can interact with alumni. That's one thing. So you open alumni to come into the institute, give them opportunity and give students opportunity to interact. The second is to also recognize these alumni. So at ICT, we have what we call as Distinguished Alumni Awards, given across 6 categories. So one is Distinguished Alumni Academics, Distinguished Alumnus Professional for people in industry, Distinguished Alumnus Research for people in industry doing research, not academics, because research is a part of the academic system. Then we have Distinguished Alumnus Entrepreneur. We have Distinguished Alumnus Extramural. So that is somebody who's not pursued what they studied in the institute but excelled in something else. For instance, we have given this award to people like somebody who's in the police service, somebody who's in income tax, a musician. I don't know if you all know the name. We had Pandit Haldankar. He's from our institute and he was awarded this. We had a stand-up comedian who's doing exceptionally well in the US. So he was awarded. So what happens is if you start recognizing, we find that alumni start connecting. So many of them start connecting because one of their friends gets the award, he or she brings in a lot of people for that event. And every year we have 2 events compulsorily. One is on Technology Day and one is on our Foundation Day, which is in December, 3rd Saturday. We've kept it because Saturday is normally a holiday. It's a time when a lot of people come into the institution from abroad, come to India from abroad, so they can plan and they come on that day. And there we honor them. So we have an elaborate function. So many of them start coming. Once they witness one function, then they keep it in mind that, okay, I want to attend more function. So that's how we build up the connect. Then the Alumni Association does proactive outreach activity and tries to reach out to these alumni and try to get them to fund. But I must tell you, despite having that alumni, we still don't get the kind of funds we would like to get. So it looks very green from the outside. From the outside, you still see a lot of the muddy part where the grass is not yet grown. But it's still working. That's important.
How to bring the industry closer? This was alumni part. Because that disconnect is very, very prominent, and it is a big hurdle,
Yeah.
if you see.
So if you look at the foreign universities, they are very closely connected, and like you said, the funding there is much more from industry than government. Here, I think it's a mindset problem where the trust factor is low. So if an Indian faculty develops something, the industry is not willing to believe it as much as they would believe it if a foreign faculty does it. And if that foreign faculty charges $1 million also, they will give it even if you want to charge them only $1,000.
And if you see that maybe the region, our publication have got 40% co-author from foreign. Maybe because of acceptability.
I wouldn't say that about co-authorship. I think co-authorship now collaboration has become the order of the day because you're trying to use facilities from across the world. So the collaborations are happening and co-authorship is coming more because of collaboration rather than banking on their name. That's my feeling. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong. But that's what I feel, that this co-authorship from foreign authors is more because of the support you get easily these days. You know, you can send your sample and they do the studies and they send back everything to you on soft copies. You know, they don't have to start couriering, so they are happy to send things back to you now. So that transfer of information has become very easy across the globe. And that is one of the reasons. And then there are so many of these government support scholarship, programs like the other country programs, Indo-US, Indo-European, Indo-Japanese. So under these programs, automatically there'll be collaborative papers. Yes, there'll be collaborative papers.
First, I will add that if the project is run at the initiation stage in collaboration with industry, the things will be beneficial, because at times when we are ready with the end product, then we offer the industry that we have this for you. But it should be, the beginning should be with the industry. So.
Yeah, so I would just like to add there that I have both these experiences. Okay. I have an experience where projects started with industry and government. It was tripartite and all those failed. Okay. They failed not because of the institute industry problem, but because of the industry government issue. Okay. Now exactly what that issue was, they never spelled out. But the government told me the challenge is not the institute, it is with us, so you continue, and they gave me the freedom to take the projects ahead.
I will agree with that, because we have a scheme called PACE, P-A-C-E. Again, the scheme is for industry-academia collaboration. So we have seen very often in that industry wants to come alone and academia wants to come alone. So they don't want to come together, and even if they come together, some partner will leave in between. So yeah, that's true. That is also
and it's more a mindset of not give, only keep with industry. They don't want to give anything out to the academician. They don't want to recognize the institute and academia support. So that doesn't work, right? Foreign countries, that support is very high. And everything is very practically done, the sharing ratios are arrived at, and all that brings in the trust. Probably our academic institutions should try and create such technology transfer cells, things like that, which requires significant amount of corpus funding.
So we have a body called NRDC. So they are into, the NRDC provide technology transfer support. But then again, that have not been very successful, though there are few technologies which were very successfully transferred. But then here I'll add that we have now we are hearing of this buzzword TRL levels.
Yes.
So what happens is every research that you conduct, it has TRL level 1 to TRL level 9, till your institute will say it is 9. So when a researcher works, he is not aware that what is the TRL level of his technology. So, but now government is focusing, and I am sure that over a period of time, in fact, we got 6 studies conducted across the country by the Premier Institute, identifying that what are the different TRL level technologies available in the country, especially TRL level 6 to 9, because that is a stage where the technology can be accepted by industry. But the problem is the standards that are set. We still lack in the standards in the TRL, definition of TRL levels that need to be very standardized and across the various segments of the research. So when you work in research area, if you are very clear about the TRL level of your technology and accordingly you have the terms ready with the industry, then the things might be little feasible.
True.
So we often see that the academician or the researcher says that my technology is TRL level 6, but an industry feel that this is currently a TRL level 4. So they are not ready to pay the amount that they are seeking for research being at TRL level 6. So TRL level is something which is going to be a game changer, might be a game changer in future if we have well standardized TRL levels and well accepted.
So I think those connects in terms of exact standards and having understanding that when industry will be able to take it as it is, that will bring a better connect. Thank you.
Yeah.
If you
Ma'am has to say something.
Can I just change the track to innovation, because I can see students are getting a little bored with this infrastructural problems we're talking about. So I just like to go to innovation, because we're talking of research, we're talking of innovation. Madam just said there is a program called PRISM where if you have an idea. So your thought may be, how can I get an idea? Because I've had a lot of my students approach me. I want to do something, ma'am, but from where do I get the idea? So I'm just going to give you some examples of how people got ideas and they became big successes from daily life. One is the microwave. All of us know about the microwave, all of us use it, it's used everywhere today, right? Such a common item. But where did it really begin? It was somewhere in 1945 that a scientist called Percy Spencer was working with a vacuum tube. Okay, and while working with the vacuum tube, he suddenly realized that a chocolate kept in his pocket had melted. Now, what would one do if a chocolate in your pocket melts? You'll get so upset that it's going to stain my dress, it's going to, create a problem so difficult to wash. He didn't do that. He went back and tried to understand why it melted. So he took that out, put another chocolate and walked in front of that vacuum tube, and he found this chocolate also melted. That was the beginning of the use of the microwave for heating. And the first microwave was 500 kilos, costing $500. And today you have 3 to 5 kilo microwave ovens costing 3 to 5,000 rupees. So what was it that Percy Spencer did? He looked at something differently, right? So something happens, you have to look at it carefully and understand, you would come up with an idea. The other simple idea, which also you will be able to relate to, is the Velcro tape. All of us know about Velcro tape. So how did Velcro originate? I don't remember the name of this person. He was not a scientist or anything. He was a hiker. And when he went for a hike and came back, he found some burrs. Burrs are fruits with a lot of thorns. He had so many of them sticking on his coat and his pant and everywhere. And he had to literally struggle to pull them out. So instead of just pulling them out and throwing them blindly, he actually looked at it. He said, why is it that it's sticking so well? And that was the origin of Velcro. And the first people who took this concept from him was NASA. NASA took it for some aerospace applications. And then later on, it's come into the world as Velcro. And we only know that, yes, get Velcro tape. If there's a poster presentation, we need to put it up. Get double-side Velcro. I mean, we talk about Velcro as a common item. But it all began somewhere. And let me take one more example for you. And that is not an innovation, but a discovery. And that is gravity. How was gravity discovered? We all know. An apple fell and Newton discovered gravity. But was that the first apple that fell in the world? No. So why did Newton discover gravity? Because when the apple fell, instead of running away, making sure he doesn't get hurt, he went back and he said, what is there? Why did it fall? He looked up, down, and finally arrived at gravity, right? So if you want to be innovative, you have to look carefully into whatever you're doing. Now, many of you here are masters, undergraduates, science students, or maybe management students. In every walk of life, while you are doing something, something abnormal happens. If you try to, instead of rejecting the abnormal, try to understand that abnormal, let me tell you, you will have an idea, you will have an innovation, and you will have something that you will be doing, something that you will be contributing. And that feeling that you get when you contribute is fantastic. But does it mean that if I have an idea, I have to take it to an enterprise or I have to take it and make it a company? No. I can just take that idea to completion and I can give it to another company. So I don't have to worry about that saying, oh, if I take it forward, I don't want to become an entrepreneur any day. So I'm not going to do it. No, you can still do it and give it to somebody who's in the business. And they would take it to society. So you don't have to take it to society. But it's very important for all of you young brains to keep it active and to tell yourselves that I would like to contribute something somewhere. Everybody need not contribute to science and technology. You can contribute in any way to society. In any way, so many ways. So if you just go across to Google and ask Google Angel about innovations, and when you get some free time, read 102, and your mindset will change, and probably at least 10% of this crowd would become innovative.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this nice, encouraging illustration where a student would start finding uncommon in the common day-to-day life. We discussed various aspects of research and innovation. The National Education Policy 2020 has also tried to bring certain aspects to connect these dots. So one thing it says that every institution that has been notified also, it is into proper actionable document, which is a mandate, every academic institution has to have an industry cell on campus. So academic institution having industry cell has to look at that what is happening in industry, they have to track and also share that whatever they are doing, they have to take it there. Same way every industry has to have, every company has to have an academic cell there and they have to see that what academics is doing and try to see that if they can draw some help or they can support it one or other way. So I'm sure that this is a good initiative which has all the possibilities of bridging this gap. In our country, many of the things happen only when the government make a mandate, and this mandate has come. One last point I will put before we take the questions from audience is we are talking of scaling up research and innovation on academic institution. If you see the current affair of this research on academic campuses, we have only 216 researchers as a country per million population, 216. South Korea has 7,100 researchers per million. It's a very small country compared to India. US has 4,300. So research as an interest, you started, Kalia madam, you started very good way asking that what these students want to do, and majority is looking for job. How to bring this culture? We have seen that sports in the country has picked up very well. Earlier, sports was something which was not being seen as a very respectful career to pursue, but now we are seeing that sports has gained momentum. Research is still lacking. How can we make it a mainstream career choice to our brighter student as compared to they are looking for other cozy jobs? So 2 minutes from, or 1 minute from both of you, because the anchor is standing. So quickly we will close it and then I'll give it to you for questions.
Okay, so NEP has already addressed this, and we have at the third, I think after the after the fourth semester, from fifth semester, a student can opt for research. So the student gets the degree, and additionally, it's not called, say, for instance, like I teach the pharmacy students, so it's not just B.Pharm, but it's B.Pharm honors research with extra credits which they get. So that is how they are promoting research. And this would get them priority for masters by research. So the government has already looked into that, but I think it needs to be promoted further. So we also have an undergraduate research program which is institute driven. And it is based on cooperation from research faculty. You can take over.
I think what you were saying was making students come more in science field, science also besides research. Mainstream career, sciences, research. So one of the things I feel is making research more engaging. So as of now, at times it looks that a career is long when you choose research, and it takes more time to settle down and finally find a job. And a lot of economic conditions, family economic conditions play a major role in selection of research or science as a career choice. So for that, Government of India has many fellowship and scholarship schemes. They have also have schemes for women researchers who have a break in career. So I'll say there are very good motivational schemes for women researchers also. So that is one thing that government is doing. Plus they have enhanced the fellowship. I think over a period of time the fellowships have also been increased. Quite a good amount is there. But still I feel that here private industry can play a major role. See, if they support researchers from the very beginning, like we have emeritus chairs, we have chairs in the institutes. We should have some research student by the industry in an institute. Suppose some industry says that I will sponsor 3 research students in this institute. So I think that will be one way where it's not for us, but it is for the industry actually to pitch in somewhere, because they need those researchers end of the day. So they should pitch in and identify some chairs for students in their...
So we have got government taken its step, now it's turn of industry. They should also identify young students and sponsor them as a young researcher, and that will certainly change the culture. We had a very engaging discussion and very enriching discussion. If we can take few questions from the audience. Hope you are all awake and you were listening to all that was being discussed. If you ask questions, that will reflect what were you engaged with.
Do we have any questions for a wonderful panelist here? Any questions regarding? Yes. Can you please pass on the mic?
Hi there. First of all, thank you very much for the session, and you guys been pretty informative too. So my question would be, what we face is lack of awareness. That's the first thing, because if you ask, because I, as a child, when I was in the schools, I wanted to be a scientist. Early days, inspired by the stories by Einstein and stuff. So we don't have a lot of role models over here. So you want to be a film star, you want to be a car racer, you got a lot of, a lot of them. So but when I see, I think you're from a farmer and somebody from a chemical background. So we don't find a lot of them. So if I say Kiran Mazum, that's closely associated with Biocon, we don't see these people in science to be inspirational. So that's what the young kids look after. So if I ask somebody, if you want to be a doctor, so they have a clear role model, yeah, you want to be a doctor. So if you want to be a scientist, we don't have a lot of familiar faces. And I'm not from the science background, but I'm from a business background. But we also help a lot of students to find this passion. It has to be a very young age. So if we come up with any of these initiatives, so would you be interested to be a part of it, to spread the awareness? That's the first thing. Secondly, when you talk about research and scientists and a lot of other stuff, right? So we are losing a lot of, it's called a brain drain, right? So somebody who completed a bachelor's and then go for a master's degree, then do a PhD. There is a problem lies in either the CSIR funds them or the UGC funds them. And there's a lot of funding issues too. I know a lot of people who get the funding maybe like 6 months in a while, or even we had a news like somebody who's doing a researcher who's going, who's also a farmer. So because part-time farmer, so you don't get fundings. Because of these reasons, I talk to a lot of PhD students. The moment they complete the PhD, they want to go for a postdoc. That's not in India. So that's where the 6 years, 7 years grinding that get over, they earn some money. The moment they travel to US, UK, any of the English-speaking countries, these guys don't come back.
What is your question? If you can keep it
no.
a little targeted, pointed.
Yeah,
so putting across the problems, yeah.
So these are the real, because you see problem from the top layer and I see problem from the very downside. So we actually need to find out the problem. So my questions would be, how do you familiarize with these things? Because until and unless we address these issues, the things won't solve. So you can talk about funding and all these things.
You are saying that we need to have research heroes who need to be showcased so that people could relate at young age and try to draw inspiration.
That's right. So one thing, because you rightly spoke about the entrepreneurship and the mindset and everything, right?
I'll say that briefly, then ma'am can add on, that our government, Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, has actually taken up some of your points, because if you see lately, a lot about the work that is being done in ISRO has been highlighted. So I believe that is a way of attracting students towards that field. And in fact, people know about the secretary of ISRO and all these DRDO now. So that's one way, but I completely, honor your opinion, and I think you have given a very honest opinion of what is the ground reality of the students at your stage. So I'll say yes, it's an important point that you have mentioned. And this forum that your institute has organized, the purpose of this forum is same only. They have tried a lot to bring in people from the various areas of research, whether we have people, we have a gentleman from the chocolate industry, he was R&D head there. We have people from Coursera today, and we have ma'am who is, the moment I saw her, my name next to her, I like, this is my final achievement in life, because I have been hearing about her from so long, and she's a name to reckon with. She's like my teacher. She is one who will motivate us. We have been motivated by her achievements. So I believe you all have to accept those things also. So you today have been getting an opportunity to interact with some of the very successful researchers. If you take researcher not in terms of money, see, the one thing is you should not seek research as a money aspect. You should see research that how the person has contributed in the society. So the way ma'am said that ICT, how ICT is contributing in the GDP of the country to the Reliance and other Dr. Reddy's. So that is her, that will be her contempt. She'll feel, yes, I have achieved in life if she has, and I know the student from ICT, how many pharma industry they are running in this country. Look at the population of India, but we are we are self-reliant in terms of healthcare, especially when we talk about medicine. And I feel a lot of contribution has come from ICT, because a lot of pharma personnel today we see are from ICT only, or UDCT. So that's how, that is the terms of satisfaction when you do research. So see, every profession is very different, and every profession has very different meaning of satisfaction. For your mother, the satisfaction is when your child grows into a young responsible adult, so mother feels satisfied. So every profession, every responsibility has different satisfaction. So when you talk about researchers, so you can't relate them to the public figures those ways, because they are the silent worker who are contributing in the country's GDP, in the country's growth, economic, social development. You can see it in terms of white revolution, you can see it in terms of green revolution, you can see in terms of the satellite success of the country, and you can see in terms of healthcare success of the country. That is the contribution of researchers of the country. So which is not evident, not one person is contributing, but all the researchers are contributing. So that will be my take on that.
No, I would just like to add one more thing, is what you're saying is right. We should catch them young and expose them to the concept of science and to scientists so that they see some role models, which is very correct. In Maharashtra, it has started through the Marathi Vigyan Parishad, which is a private body. But they're going around to schools and particularly to the rural areas, not in the city areas, and promoting science. So what you're talking of is promotion of science, if I'm not wrong.
That's right.
And that has begun already, but if I don't know about this very clearly, but I think even at the central level, there are schemes to promote science in schools. And on February 5th, 6th, 7th...
is held in President's Hall.
Yes. So that's an all India thing. And on 5th, 6th, 7th in Mumbai, with an industry support, Marshall's Foundation, and a lot of universities, including ICT, there's a big exhibition, innovation exhibition of about 1,000 stalls, of which I think 20-25 are from schools also, and the rest are from higher education institutions. So there's a lot happening. But like you say, it has to expand much more because we are a huge country, huge population.
So I could see the anxiety of the anchors. He is getting anxious. But thank you for putting such a relevant question. Give a round of applause for asking a right question. Asking question is the beginning of thinking, and that leads to research. So good that we had somebody who has brought it. We have short of time, as you know that any thing of this kind always need more time, and as you discuss, you build on your interest. So you start very plain, but your interest start building. We had a very enriching discussion, and I request you all to give a round of applause to both of our very esteemed panelists, Madam Padma, Madam Vandana, and thank you to you all for being very patient. Though we got one question, but that was representative of you all. I compliment to this gentleman asking for question. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, each one of you, and thank you so much, my wonderful panelist discussion. I'm pretty sure all here are pretty much inspired.